Hey, what's up, guys? So I was having a really cool conversation with Golden Cat 5144, who has been having like shoulder issue for the last 20 years, and he shared with me his racket setup that actually fixed his issue. And the first thing was that the racket has to be heavier than 350 grams. Second part is it needs to be minimum 8-point headlight. And then the other thing was the lower tension. And when you're going to do the poly, you want to do like 10-point less than the multi-filament weight. And so I have to check that out. So I wanted to show you my racket modification process based on his or her recommendation. I give you a few tools here. So I have like four of the pure drive, and the one way to check the weight balance is that when you have a racket, I'll just explain it briefly for those who are not familiar with it. So it is, assuming that it is 27-inch racket, that's the length. And when you have, I probably should have started the video with a tripod, right? So when you put when you check the length, right in the middle point is 13.5 inches, which ends up with right here with this racket. And when you Google like what is like 10-point headlight for the tennis racket, it gives you 1.25 inch. So you basically go down 1 inch, 1.25 inches, which is right there. So you mark it right there, right? And when you hold the racket like this, at that mark, the racket should be even like this. But right now it is, handle the head heavy. So I need to add more weight to the handle. There's multiple there are multiple ways to add weight. Some people put lead tape under the replacement grip. Some people open up the butt cap, put like lead or coins or whatever, silicone, liquid silicone, let it dry and everything. But today I'm going to show you just using the silicone tapes. So, one of these are very interesting material. I was kind of testing with the handle as a replacement grip replacement. When they stick together with pressure, they stick together. But that's another matter. Silicone is, as far as I know, is one of the most absorbing shock material. I think it's the second one out there. So I have these scraps that I was going to throw out, and I'm just using the scale. And when you measure these are about 16 grams ish. So I have another like maybe 10 more grams that I can add more from this. So I basically measured the weight, and then when I check the static weight of my racket, this one is what right now 318.8. That's without the butt cap, so it's going to add another 3 grams or something like that. So I have about 30 grams to play with. So if I have double pile of this, it would be close to about 30 gram. Make this racket into 350 static weight, and hopefully it will give like enough headlight at about 10-point headlight. Maybe I will go to 8-point headlight or something like that. That might be plenty. I know you mentioned that this is very harsh on the arm kind of racket, but I do have a hybrid setup. So I just want to at least have that and play just a few balls to see how it feels. But yeah, I just want to show you the process of like changing the weight balance, making the racket more heavy, and to give you the theory that in my head that makes sense of what he said is that when you have a bigger mass on the handle, the idea is that the inertia effect, I think, so this action gets much easier. I was talking to another Wilson engineer at my club, and he was saying if you hold a baseball bat by the handle, let's just assume that this is a baseball bat. When you hold it by the handle, it's really hard to hold because the head is really heavy. That's how you can hit a home runs, right? But what if you hold the racket by the head? With the baseball bat, it'll be much easier. So it'd be much easier to swing. You could probably like play tennis with it because it's so light, right? And so that's the idea. Same static weight baseball bat. It depends on where you hold on to. The maneuverability changes quite a bit. And so, you've heard when you have a headlight racket, it's much easier to maneuver. And I think with mass of heavier racket, which I was, kind of concluding into that will be the way to, relieve the tennis elbow. And then having the handle heavy. The other thing that, other than the mass plow-through effect, when you have a heavier material closer to your hand, my sense tells me that it will absorb more shock or torque coming to hand. Another way to view it is, let's say you're just holding a empty tube. The tube is going to really vibrate so much. Your hand is going to take most of the shock, most of the torque, but the handle is heavy, meaning heavier object, kind of like when you hold a rock on your hand, it would have its own weight. Whatever shock that you get will be lessened, somewhat absorbed by the rock. So that's the idea. So before I go into too much of this sort of it could be nonsense, but it could make sense physically too. Physics. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, I think it's good to have one of these small scale to have some data points before you modify the racket. And my goal is, again, it's not about, I'm not doing the racket my job to make money or anything. I'm just trying to fix my freaking tennis elbow. One other thing that I forgot to mention, you have to watch out for using one of those silicone tubes with a caulking style gun. When you're using the liquid, just make sure to understand that this racket, many of the racket tubes are all the way connected, all the way down here. So if you don't have something to block right here, the liquid can travel all the way through the frame. Then you're going to ruin your racket because you can't control how much is going to go each side. I mean, if you can have a same amount goes through, then maybe you can insulate in the same way. That's not possible. So make sure to have something like this, something long enough that you can pull out if you don't like it. And my idea is that if this goes in somewhere, when I shove this in, stop somewhere here maybe then, I can add liquid version on top. But my guess is that as long as I make about 30 to 40 grams of this pile, I just shove it in with a screwdriver or something like that, it should change the weight balance. I've done it before. So that's all for today. It really sucks not to be able to play tennis because of tennis elbow. It's painful, but it's annoying too. So I hope you don't get it. So do some exercise. And I did actually yoga yesterday, and it relieved pain quite a bit. And the idea is, I think it stretches the side muscles, shoulder, back, and then upper arm, so that, I don't know, I may have to do it one more time today, maybe do it every day. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay fit.